What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Hardison, and today, let's talk about some wangs. Continuing with our discussion series, today we are going to specifically talk about rear wings. So we're going to start out with mounting the rear wing, and then we'll continue to divulge more into the tuning option end of things. The reason why I want to start with the mounting of the wing is because it's going to be the first thing you do when you pull it out of the package. Because if you don't have the wing mounted, well, none of the other things are going to matter. So to start out, when you go to mount your wing, the very first thing you're going to do is figure out whether you want the wing to be more forward or whether you want the wing to be more rearward. Now, as you move the wing more forward, you're going to make the car a little bit more agile. I feel like that you will add some more rotation to it, especially on the off power end of things. You're going to sacrifice a little bit of stability for agility. And the inverse will happen when you move the wing more rearward. Now, the only caveat to that is if you move the wing too far back to where you have a lot of weight hanging off the back of the car, whether it be physical weight or aerodynamic weight, you can kind of get a bit of a pendulum effect in the rear of your car to where it's actually going to want to over-rotate because it's going to throw that weight around. So that is going to be the very first thing to determine. I feel like I run generally a pretty neutral wing, not super far forward, not super far back. Kind of gives it just a very good overall feel. Now, the next thing you're going to do is once you've got your wing mounted, then you can determine whether you want the wing to sit high or whether you want the wing to sit low. Having the wing sit higher is going to be better on a higher speed track. It's going to provide stability in those high speed areas, but as you go into that higher wing, you are going to increase your center of gravity. You're going to raise it because you are putting weight up higher. As you go to the lower wing, you'll have the inverse effect, and it generally will be a little bit more stable from the rolling end of things. And you will sacrifice a little bit of rear downforce for that. As you increase your wing height, you will increase downforce. As you lower your wing height, you will decrease downforce. Another thing you can do on the rear wing is on some cars, you do have the option for increasing or decreasing your rear wing angle. I feel like generally on an 8-scale buggy, you aren't going to see a whole lot of angle play. It'll mostly be a neutral-ish wing. But as you increase that angle, you are going to increase your rear downforce. And you'll notice that as you jump into the air, because you have more rear downforce, it's going to want to keep the front end up a little bit more, whereas the flatter wing isn't going to do that nearly as much. But as I said, you don't see that a whole lot on the 8-scale end of things. You'll see it a little bit on the 10-scale end of things, but you don't see it a crazy amount. It is a tuning option though, if you are looking to really get into that fine nitty-gritty stuff. Transitioning now into what you can actually do with the wing itself. I'll use my fancy Razor Wing white in front of me. And so this guy is going to be that, new big boxy style wing. Pretty aggressive because of the size of it, but let's go over what some of these guys are going to do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the rear wing holes. So this is going to specifically affect your low speed rotation. So let's say you're on a track, there's a couple 180s, and you feel like the car needs a little bit more rotation, but not quite enough to where you actually need to adjust the car. Then you can add holes to the rear, and then you can adjust hole size depending on how much more rotation you want. So you'll see some people will have a row of small holes, some big holes, some will have some medium holes. You'll even see some that have the big holes and then some smaller holes mixed in there. For me personally, I just keep it simple. I do the nice big holes in the back, and I feel like I still have a lot of stability around the track, but it gets me in and out of the turn a little bit faster. The next thing you'll see sometimes on this particular boxy wing is you'll cut the side dams down a little bit. That is going to be more of a high-speed rotation tuning option in my opinion. So basically, as you're going through that sweeping turn, again, let's say you feel like you need a little bit more rotation, but not quite enough to where it justifies changing the car dramatically, you can trim that off and you'll gain that little bit of extra rotation. Now on some wings, not this wing in particular, you will have an extra flap on the back. that is going to be, again, another tuning option. A lot of times I will just leave it on there, but if you're looking for that little bit of extra rotation, you can go ahead and cut that off. But you don't really see a whole lot of that F2i style wing anymore, I feel like. I definitely think that I see a lot more of these Razor wings, and here in the store, I definitely sell more of the Razor wings compared to the F2i wings. So this is definitely the in at the moment for what everybody is running. If you are running the F2i though, that is a tuning option. Now that we are on the topic of F2i and Razor wing, you'll notice that they are two very, very different wings. And I will throw up on the screen the F2i wing if you are not familiar with that. That is gonna be a lot flatter of a wing compared to the Razor. And what you're gonna notice with that is it's gonna have a bit higher of a top speed down the straightaway, and it's going to have a lot more rotation all the way around. So if you feel like that you just have way too much rear grip, regardless of what you do tuning option wise with this Razor wing, you could go to that F2i and you'll gain rotation all the way around. Now, if you are happy with the Razor wing, you don't want to change anything else, you feel like this does really well, but it gets windy outside. You're doing an outdoor race, big jumps, wind picks up. That is gonna be another opportunity to then swap over to that lower downforce wing, because when you jump in the air, it's not gonna scoop as much of the wind. What you can notice with the Razor wing or any of these boxy wings is that when you jump in the air and it's windy out, it's gonna totally throw the rear end all the way around, and it's gonna be very difficult to hang on to. Drivable, but very difficult to hang on to because the car is gonna wanna not fly straight and level. It's gonna want to pivot, and then you gotta force yourself to do a whip to that way land on all fours. And if you're not super familiar or comfortable doing the whips, that can definitely get very sketchy. So that would be another opportunity to use the F2i. But generally speaking, you will mostly use this kind of boxy wing nowadays. It is what everybody is using, and then you'll just tune from this. So that goes over wing tuning for the day. Goes over all the different mounting options and wing tuning options, whether it be on this specific wing or actually changing wings. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If there's something that I missed or something that you want me to specifically go over, feel free, leave it in the comments, and I will make sure to help you guys out. Till next week. See you guys later.